Coming up on Cronkite News, Arizona commemorates its 111th birthday.
Plus, an approved Senate bill will make cochlear implants eligible for coverage through Arizona's healthcare system.
And later, the Super Bowl wasn't the only football game in Arizona this past weekend. We'll get a closer look at the 23rd celebrity flag football game.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Maria Stobbs.
And I'm Connor McGill. Thank you for joining us.
A bill being proposed at the legislature would alter the state's definition of first-degree burglary.
House Bill 2059 modifies the definition of first-degree burglary during a riot and a protest. And as Madison Perales explains, it would increase penalties for those involved.
Protesting is a constitutionally protected right. House Bill 2059 in Arizona might make some amends, and some activists are concerned.
So it establishes the crime of mob intimidation, which is a Class 1 misdemeanor. That can carry a penalty of up to 6 months in jail for simply attempting to compel someone to agree with your viewpoint. And that, to me, clearly fails a First Amendment test.
Councilmember Alan Skillicorn supports the newly proposed bill.
It's very clear that this is just a penalty enhancement for crimes that happened during a riot, and also a component telling police forces not to stand down. I think both of those are positives, and I think it makes a more harmonious Arizona.
Proposed legislation alters the definition of first-degree burglary to include burglaries committed during a riot. It states that someone who participates in a riot consisting of at least 25 people can be charged with a Class 3 felony.
What they're trying to do is enhance the safety of protest.
Ortega believes the bill is a threat to people's liberty.
In my opinion, are violating people's freedom of expression, which is protected by the First Amendment.
HB 2059 states that any person who commits an offense in, quote, furtherance of a riot or an unlawful assembly shall be sentenced to the next higher class of offense than their original conviction.
What is a riot? What is an unlawful assembly? The proposals do not deal or define it in a way that lets people who want to protest know that they may or may not be violating the laws.
Activist Salvador Reza says he was arrested 3 times. He thinks this bill will worsen punishment.
It's the year to 2 years to 3 years that you're going to be fighting it in court. And then your fight is going to be you and the state.
While the bill seems to be straightforward, Ortega is skeptical.
The likelihood that this will pass is very small, but you can never say never.
Tomorrow morning, the House plans to discuss the bill further, and several people are expected to attend to voice their stance.
And a new Senate bill could change the lives of the deaf community. I had the pleasure of delving into how cochlear implant coverage could have an impact. A turn signal is an ordinary sound to most, but for 73-year-old Melanie O'Rourke, this was one of the first sounds she recognized after receiving a cochlear implant.
People say losing your hearing is you're going through a grief process, and I did. I was depressed.
O'Rourke lost her hearing due to meningitis 20 years ago.
One of the biggest things that was on my mind was that this impacted my profession.
Only 53.3% of deaf people ages 25 to 64 were employed in 2017, compared to 75.8% of hearing people, an employment gap of 22.5%, according to the National Deaf Center. And without insurance, a cochlear implant can cost between $30,000 and $50,000.
I mean, these folks, many of them very well educated, have had a successful career in whatever career field that they've chosen, and all of a sudden find themselves unable to work.
Senate Bill 1017, introduced by Senator Shope, would make cochlear implants eligible for coverage through Arizona's healthcare cost containment system for anyone over 21.
Arizona is one of probably 8 or 9 states that doesn't cover cochlear implants in adults. And so adults don't have access if they're being covered by Medicaid.
A cochlear implant helps those with severe hearing loss by bypassing the damaged portion of the ear and delivering sound signals to the hearing nerve.
We undervalue hearing very often. You know, we think it's not that important. But it is such an integral part of who we are and the way we live.
Both the Democratic and Republican parties in the Senate voted to pass the bill last week. After the cochlear implant surgery, O'Rourke was able to work again and began volunteering with Cochlear Americas. She's now the president of the West Valley chapter of the Hearing Loss Association of America.
Arizona turns 111 years old today. Governor Katie Hobbs took the opportunity this afternoon to highlight the achievements of women. At a ceremony in Arizona Capitol Museum, Hobbs was joined by the first female speaker of the Navajo Nation Council and an ASU historian who talked about the history of Arizona's many female governors. Hobbs noted that Arizona has always had a reputation of being a trailblazer, particularly when it comes to women in leadership.
In 1912, the very first year that Arizona was a state, Arizonans overwhelmingly voted to give women the right to vote, a full 8 years before that happened nationally.
If you didn't know, we got our nickname as the 48th state because we are the 48th state to join the union.
Speaking of Arizona, Governor Katie Hobbs was recently interviewed by Fox News regarding migrants.
Hobbs is defending her decision to bus migrants to other states. She claims that the policies were already in place, and so she is simply helping legal asylum seekers get them to where they need to be. According to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection website, border crossings last year were at an all-time high. So far, the total U.S. Border Patrol encounters for this year total over 700,000, with many migrants flocking to Arizona in their border crossings. Hobbs planned to continue busing migrants to other states and says Arizona shouldn't be the only state responsible for the immigration issues. A warning from the CDC after new data shows an increase in suicide rates in America. In 2020, over 40,000 people died by suicide. That's one death every 11 minutes. Non-Hispanic American Indian, Alaska Natives, and non-Hispanic whites and the highest rates of suicide. For every suicide death, there are 4 hospitalizations for suicide attempts, 8 emergency department visits related to suicide, and 27 self-reported suicide attempts. 275 people who are seriously considered suicide. If you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, call 988 to be connected with a suicide and crisis lifeline operator.
A quick look at the economy. Inflation rates edged a little higher for the month.
According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, inflation went up 0.5% from December.
Household items like food, gasoline, and natural gas also got more expensive in January. But some good news, prices for used cars, medical care, and airline fares all falling from December. More inflation rate hikes are expected in the coming months. Coming up, when we waste food, we are also wasting water.
And Arizona ranks pretty high in food waste according to a recent report. We take a look at how one local farm is making efforts to reduce the amount of waste and turn it into something everyone can enjoy.
Coming back from the break, I'm going to let you know what to expect for your Valentine's date tonight and this coming week.
Now streaming on the PBS app, the definitive collection of documentaries from award-winning filmmaker Ken Burns.
Hemingway, the man, is much more interesting than the myth.
It is a story that Americans have to reckon with.
He's got my job, I'm the town.
Discover over 40 groundbreaking films that bring our history to life. Stream the Ken Burns collection now with Passport on the PBS app.
General Manager of Arizona PBS. We've got so much going on here at the station.
I'm Catherine Anaya.
I'm Alberto Rios.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell.
I'm Ted Simons.
We want everyone to know that their Arizona connection starts right here at Arizona PBS.
For over the past 60 years, Arizona PBS has told incredible stories of Arizona's distinctive people.
We got to start being more vulnerable with each other.
What I love most about being a Latina woman is the passion and drive that I feel.
Beautiful landscapes and treasured history.
We're doing something that benefits the community.
Good evening and welcome to Horizonte.
Welcome to Check Please Arizona.
Welcome to the U.S. Senate debate.
The recipient of the Emmy is
Arizona PBS.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Arizona ranks #1 in the U.S. for food waste, according to a 2022 analysis. Each year, the state throws away $9.5 billion worth of food.
Cronkite News reporter Atria Maneshny tells us what wasting food also wastes water, and that's something we can't afford in this drought-stricken state.
The Arizona Worm Farm deals with a lot of food waste weekly.
We get green waste from salad producers that don't put them in those bags that go in your grocery store. We get horse manure from carefully curated stables, and we get ground landscape waste from the city of Phoenix from a landfill diversion program.
Instead of letting the waste pile up in the landfill, the 10-acre farm composts the garbage, turning it into fresh produce for everyone on the farm to eat.
What we're looking at right here in front of us is Brussels sprouts. Right there among your feet is going to be broccoli and cauliflower.
The farm doesn't use chemicals or pesticides for composting. They don't till the soil either. And to help those composting efforts, they get a little bit of help from these wiggling critters right here.
The type of composting that worms are used for is called vermicomposting. It's just the worms that are consuming your food waste, and then they're passing it on as their castings.
And this type of composting also helps with water conservation.
Any food that goes to the landfill, really, it's just a waste of water because of all the water that it took to manufacture those food items.
Waste Not is a local nonprofit that focuses on food rescue, and they share similar goals with the Worm Farm.
We conserved over 220 million gallons of water in just 1 year.
Waste Not picks up quality food from local businesses that would have otherwise gone to the landfill. They give the food to an Arizonan in need. By doing this, the nonprofit is able to save water and protect our groundwater.
Food rescue really saves water indirectly and then also prevent the leachate from the landfills from going into our groundwater.
The lack of pesticide use at the Worm Farm also protects our groundwater. Brooks is hoping the farm's food rescue efforts is an inspiration to all.
That instead of throwing their garbage into that big container that's in front of your house that takes a diesel truck to come pick up, to take that food waste and put it into a raised bed garden in your backyard.
In Phoenix, Atria Maneshny, Cronkite News.
Waste Not has been leading food rescue efforts around the valley for 35 years.
This year they rescued food from the Super Bowl and the Waste Management Phoenix Open.
Clouds are covering the valley today, with more showers expected this Valentine's Day.
Ariana Ranza has your full forecast.
Thank you, guys. We are experiencing a very chilly and rainy Valentine's Day. We're going to see it hit 59 degrees at 6 p.m. with some clouds coming in throughout the night. We're going to see it hit 53 at 10 p.m. So you definitely want to plan accordingly for those Valentine's Day plans tonight. For our Futurecast tomorrow, we are going to see some light to heavy snow up on the northeast side of the state, some light to heavy rain on the central part of the state. We're going to see that heading to the southeast side, leaving us with some nice clear skies by tomorrow afternoon. For our low temperatures tomorrow, we are going to see some very chilly weather. We're going to see 36 in Phoenix. Up north, we're going to see a very cold -6 at the Grand Canyon, -2 in Flagstaff. On the west side of the state, we're going to see 38 Lake Havasu and 39 in Yuma. Warming up a little bit throughout the day, but still very chilly. We're going to see 56 in Phoenix. Up north, that -6 jumps up to 24 at the Grand Canyon, 25 in Flagstaff. On the west side of the state, we're going to see 59 Lake Havasu and 62 in Yuma. For our 8-day forecast, we are going to see those sunny skies again with the high 56 tomorrow. Clouds are going to start to come in for our weekend, leaving us with a high 64 on Saturday. Those clouds won't be leaving us anytime soon, as we'll see a slight chance of rain starting next week with a high 67 on Wednesday. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Ariana Ariza.
I'm Noelle Blumel. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. Pickleball popularity is growing. We'll get a look at what it takes to make it as a pro.
When you support Arizona PBS, you plant a seed. Seeds that provide educational outreach in our community. Seeds that put our digital resources to work. Seeds that foster the trusted news coverage you expect from PBS. And seeds that continue the amazing PBS programs you love. But our garden can't keep growing without your support. Visit our website to see all the ways you can help our garden grow. Plant a seed with Arizona PBS today.
My heart is racing right now.
Fasten your seatbelt.
You're uncovering the truth.
These are consequential things. Yeah.
Oh, look at everybody.
I feel the presence of all these people.
I've got history.
No.
I wish my mom could be here to see this.
Amazing. It's like the most vital stuff, right?
Tuesdays on Arizona PBS.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Noelle Blumel. Just 5 weeks after they fired Cliff Kingsbury, the Cardinals name his replacement. The team announced just hours ago that Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon will be the new head coach. The 40-year-old is fresh off of a run to the Super Bowl, and this new gig may help ease the sting of losing the Lombardi Trophy to the Chiefs. The Cardinals are expected to introduce Gannon to the media tomorrow. As Gannon says goodbye to the Eagles, Arizona says goodbye to Super Bowl 57. The host committee handed off the big game to Las Vegas, who is set to host Super Bowl 58. With a brand new stadium, Vegas is quickly becoming a competitor to Arizona in hosting big events. But NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is happy with the job the Arizona Super Bowl host committee did this year. And that experience will hopefully pay off as Arizona eyes another Super Bowl in the near future.
My last point, Commissioner Goodell, when we met last October with all of our local partners, you got asked the question, how can Arizona host Super Bowl for the 5th time? So we're already looking ahead. And your response, if you recall, is do a great job with Super Bowl 57. Yes, sir. Did we do that? Yes. Great. All right. We did. We're ready when you are. Right?
The big game wasn't the only football game played during Super Bowl weekend. Celebrities and members of the community came out for a flag football contest to benefit a good cause. Cronkite Sports reporter Joseph Furtado roamed the sidelines.
The 23rd annual Celebrity Flag Football Tournament was held for the first time ever at GSU Soccer Stadium, allowing the community to participate in Super Bowl weekend. The game featured many celebrities and athletes from all sports to come together to support military and first responders.
To have the opportunity to come out, play flag football with some of my favorite celebrities and athletes, and it all be for an amazing cause, you know, to help support our military, I couldn't say no. So happy to be out here for sure.
This family fun event offered a little bit of everything for the fans, from fun, food, entertainment, to having the chance to meet their favorite celebrities. The fans wasted no time packing in the stadium to cheer on their favorite stars. though the players are saying this event was a chance to give back to the community.
Obviously, we got a bunch of guys using their platform to help bring more awareness to what we're doing with Celebrity Sweat, and just an amazing opportunity during Super Bowl weekend every year to find a way to try to give back.
No matter the outcome of the game, the players say that doing it for the cause is what it's all about.
It was a blast, and really the best part of this was who we're doing it for. So being able to do this for first responders and our military, benefiting them through this charity is something that I couldn't turn down.
It was the 23rd annual Celebrity Sweat Flag Football Challenge in support of first responders and military service members, and the game surely did not disappoint. The doors opened at 11 a.m. this morning and packed the whole stadium here at GCU Soccer Stadium, and the fans, they loved it. It was a whole lot of fun. We saw a little bit of everybody here, and it was all for a great cause. In Phoenix, Joe Sfurtado, Cronkite News.
The sport of pickleball is continuing to grow, especially here in the Valley. Major League Pickleball recently opened up its season with its first tournament in Mesa. Cronkite Sports reporter Austin Scott has more on pickleball's rise to the major leagues.
Pickleball has picked up in popularity over the last few years, and now it even has its own league, Major League Pickleball. What was once an activity played for fun is now taking a swing into the sports world, and pickleball players can now play for money.
Starting to see a lot of players in the last year, devoting full time to this, not taking on other jobs and, training 24/7 like you would for any sport to become the best in the game because you get rewarded for it.
We all know Major League Pickleball is on the rise. I mean, they made the big leagues. But the real question is, how do you bring the popularity in, which also brings in revenue? Well, by the looks of these fans, it looks like Major League Pickleball might be onto something.
That's what's exciting, and hopefully the crowds get bigger and bigger and sponsors come on board and the TV deals, and as many people are playing pickleball now, I just think the spectator aspect of it will get better and better, and people appreciate what they're doing because these athletes are incredible.
Players at the tournament said they spend roughly 30 hours a week in training, as some of the top pickleballers are helping take the sport to the next level.
It's definitely getting better and better. I think there's a lot of players at this event that play pickleball full time, and make a career out of it. I think it's grown a lot within the last 3 to 5 years. More and more players are able to make a living out of this, and the Major League Pickleball obviously definitely helps with that.
With 5 more events to go this season, there is a lot of pickleball to be played, a lot of money to be made, and a lot of potential careers to be made. In Mesa, Arizona, I'm Austin Scott, Cronkite Sports.
That's it for your Cronkite Sports Report. We'll send it back to the desk.
It's Valentine's Day, and many people are showing their loved ones with gifts.
But one popular staple could pose a bigger risk than we think. We take a look at how to keep your holiday decorations tied down and out of the power lines.
Hello, I'm Adrienne Farewell, and I'm proud to serve as General Manager of Arizona PBS. From Phoenix to the Grand Canyon, Flagstaff to Prescott, and everywhere in between, this station is the best way to remain connected to all that's going on in our beautiful state. So whether you're interested in arts, culture, and music, to local politics and education, we've got you covered. You're watching Arizona PBS, and your Arizona connection starts right here.
Now streaming on the PBS app, the definitive collection of documentaries from award-winning filmmaker Ken Burns.
Hemingway, the man, is much more interesting than the myth.
It is a story that Americans have to reckon with.
He's got my job, I'm the champ.
Discover over 40 groundbreaking films that bring our history to life. Stream the Ken Burns collection now with Passport on the PBS app.
Most Americans are expected to spend close to $200 on Valentine's Day. Some of that spending may go towards the festive Mylar balloons, but as Brianna Still found out, these balloons can cause some significant damage.
Mylar balloons have become an increasingly popular gift for loved ones, but what happens when you accidentally let go of these shiny symbols of love?
Mylar balloons have a metallic feature, and what that does is it makes them conductive. And so just like our power lines are conductive, these can create a path between a phase and ground or phase to phase, which causes a fault, which causes heat, fire, and equipment failure, and that can inevitably cause hazards to the public.
Last year, Mylar balloons caused 60 outages affecting around 28,000 people in parts of Arizona. APS put on a demonstration today to prove how powerful these high-voltage power lines are.
12,470 is what this line is. It could be all kinds of different voltages and ranges depending on how high up or how low they go, but everything overhead and underground can be dangerous when it's introduced to foreign objects.
For balloon safety, APS recommends to keep them indoors, and if outside, make sure they are tied down.
If you have a flyaway balloon and it hits that line, it can erupt just like this.
Once the glow of the balloon fades, APS asks that you deflate and fold it up and discard in the trash so it doesn't blow away. In Phoenix, Brianna Steele, Cronkite News.
Happy Valentine's Day, and don't forget to hold on tight to your balloons and dispose of them properly.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.